on to online safety. We've been talking about that extensively over the last few weeks, for the last few years, but particularly in the last few weeks as the regime begins to roll out. Well, I just want to draw your attention to the Open Rights Group, which has published a page entitled Blocked, which lists websites which have either shut down or have been geo-blocked or have imposed age restrictions as a result of the Online Safety Act. Now, some of these sites won't be missed by some people because they're not that interesting, but that's neither here nor there. Many of the sites on here will be missed by people. It should be noted that these are all user-reported, and so there may be a few which where it says it's blocked, but which you may not find a block in place because maybe your IP address isn't recognized as a UK address for various reasons. But nonetheless, they are sites that many have reported. And if we just run through this little, it gives you an idea of how many sites that are being discussed here already, and lots of them. Now, this is a developing page. And of course, this is exactly the effect that the UK regime wants to see. And what I would say is that following on from Wikipedia's attempt to deal with its own problems with the legislation that I was talking about on Wednesday's news program, quite a number of people are calling on Wikipedia to effectively join the list of people that are geo-blocking Wikipedia and go dark in the United Kingdom. I think the problem is that I don't think Wikipedia is trying to take any action which would undermine the Act in the way that it took its legal action. It's not in any way against the Act in principle. I think it just wants to make sure that it is okay. So I think that sadly it's unlikely that they would take that action. But frankly, if they did take it, that would, of course, massively raise the general awareness of the situation in the population. Now, at the back of this, of course, is the fact that this is just the first of the Online Safety Act's provisions to be implemented, and that's age verification, otherwise known as digital ID. And Cory Doctorow here offers an excellent overview of the situation. Now, the link, as with all the links, will be in the show notes. He takes apart the Starmer regime's claim that it's possible to do age verification and at the same time to maintain individual privacy. And remember that this current regime sees platforms using quite a number of different so-called age assurance providers, meaning that individuals wanting to use platforms are going to have to send their personal data to an ever-widening range of companies. Who are sharing that with whom? Because we don't actually know. Dr. O concludes that, to quote him a little bit here, age verification is an impossibility and an impossibly terrible idea with an impossibly vast array of consequences for privacy and the open web. Now, as the Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF, wrote in June, following a court hearing in the United States, or a court ruling, that no person, adult or child, has a First Amendment right to access speech that is obscene to minors without first submitting proof of age. They went on to say that a person who submits identifying information online can never be sure if websites will keep that information or how that information will be used or disclosed. This leaves users highly vulnerable to data breaches and other security harms. So the question is, what's going on here? And to state this once again, this has got nothing to do with protecting children. It's about two things: censorship and intelligence gathering. The censorship aspect we're all familiar with, and we should be familiar with the use of social media for intelligence gathering as well. But of course, that's hard if people are able to use social media relatively anonymously. It's hard to use social media as an intelligence gathering operation while we're able to use it anonymously, that is. So nonetheless, we should be fully aware by now of the scale of the state spying operation here in the UK. But for anybody in other countries in the EU or the US, they're not too far behind. So this is just one aspect of the digital prison we're now accepting as a matter of convenience. Now, let's just mention Karen Bradley here and this letter to her from Diane Johnson, who's the Minister of State for Policing and Crime Prevention, who said in here that that Karen Bradley had asked about current plans to build police capability for using social media intelligence at force and national levels, and the fact that they were carefully considering recommendations made, and that they were talking about, or they're in fact building a national internet intelligence investigations team as part of the National Police Coordination Centre. So this is just another example of the type of infrastructure that's been built to spy on us. But of course, the key thing here is they want to be able to identify individuals that they're spying on. Now, in related news, we're all pleased, or we're pleased to let you know that I'm sure you're excited about it, that AI is going to be used to help the police catch criminals. So the British regime is rolling out this next stage of its pre-crime infrastructure because criminals hell-bent on making others' lives a misery, they say, face being stopped before they can strike through the cutting-edge mapping technology supported by AI. That's according to Peter Kyle. The press release says that innovators have been tasked with developing a detailed real-time and interactive crime map that spans England and Wales and can detect, track, and depict and predict where devastating knife crime is likely to occur, or spot early warning signs of antisocial behaviour before it spirals out of control, giving police the intel they need to step in and keep the public safe. They say that it will be rooted in advanced AI that will examine how to bring together data shared between police, councils, and social services, including criminal records, previous incident locations, and behavioural patterns of known offenders. And they've announced they're going to set up something called the Concentrations of Crime Data Challenge, which will set a, quotes, clear and measurable target to corporate and university teams as part of this regime's £500 million research and development missions accelerator program. So they're going to. So the question is, how are they going to do this? Well, they're going to build more data centers, of course, but don't worry, because as Charles reported on Wednesday, we can offset the water wasted cooling these data centers and our data prison by deleting a few emails. So there we go. If you remember what it said here, delete old emails and pictures, as data centers require vast amounts of water to cool their systems. And then finally on this topic, then there's been much fanfare across mainstream media that pornography websites have been seeing viewing figures fall significantly since the age verification regime came into force. Now, of course, that fact itself is unverified. The data seems to be coming from a third party and doesn't seem to take into account the massive growth in VPN usage, which has happened in parallel since this regime has been rolled out. So traffic appearing to come from the UK may appear to have fallen. It undoubtedly has, but traffic to these sites, the question is, has it fallen across the board? I think probably not. People who use websites such as this will not stop using them. They're going to find another way, and VPNs, of course, is the most obvious choice. So anyway, we'll leave that topic there for now and go back to international news.